Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome back to another Blue Stable Podcast episode. I'm yours truly, Marcus. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got a week 2 matchup. Today we're going to be discussing it. It's the Denver Broncos versus the Indianapolis Colts. This is one I had circled going into the season, but I couldn't do it alone. I got my guy Landon with me. Landon, how we doing?
Had myself on mute there. Doing great, man. End of the week, just dotting some I's, crossing some T's, getting ready for Sunday, and couldn't be better.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be a good matchup. The Denver Broncos coming off of a Week 1 victory against the Tennessee Titans, 12-20. It was pretty much a low-scoring game, but their defense is what we expected them to do. They was wreaking havoc all over rookie Cam Ward, and they're looking to bring that pressure this week against Daniel Jones. But before we get to talking about the Broncos defense, we got to get you guys posted on who's not going to be available for the Colts going into this game, as which is going to segue into the conversation of what we're talking to begin with. We're going to talk about the Colts defense, but we got to mention Travarius Ward and Liatu Latu will not be available this week. Two key players going into this game will be out of action. So that means some
Well,
guys got to
Latu, they
step
haven't
up.
rolled him out.
They
They
haven't
have
rolled them
not
out
rolled
yet.
out Latu. No. They
Okay.
said like they might try to do something like a pitch count or something like that, but he's not
Okay.
rolled out. The only ones they rolled out is Jalen Jones and Ward are the only players rolled out officially.
Okay. So there we got it. Hopefully Lasu can play. Like I said, there's a lot of people, a lot of pieces on the defensive line that can rotate. They can wreak havoc as well. So I am interested to see what they're going to do moving forward for the secondary. So I'm going to swing it over to Landon to share his thoughts on the defense and the key players that won't be available this week. How you think they're going to play into the Broncos offense?
Yeah, well, I mean, just going back, which obviously, like, it's hard to get a read on what a team is in week one, So, I mean, and that goes both ways. That goes for the Colts defense, that goes for the Broncos offense. Like, obviously, Bo Nix had his struggles, um, on Sunday. So, really, it's kind of hard to like put together a game plan based off of just 1 week of film. But I think like Ward, the loss of Ward, like it's big, but like it's not you can't not overcome it. Like you can overcome it. Um, it's going to be difficult either way, but now if Latu is out, that's where I am a little bit more worried. They haven't rolled him out though. Like I said, Steichen said today, like maybe he's on like a pitch count, something like that. So maybe he's able to rotate in. Um, it's it'll be interesting because like really like if you look at like what Tennessee did, they really tried to focus more on taking away, like very similar to like how the Colts were in Miami, is like they took away the first read, they made Nick have to go through his reads, and really like Nick's is on his at his best when he's out of the pocket, right? Like when he's moving around, when he's on the run, rollouts, all that kind of stuff. So Tennessee really wanted to try to contain him, to keep him in the pocket, take away that read, make him play quarterback, basically. Like, don't let him go out there and play backyard football against you. Make him play quarterback. And he basically, like, kind of obliged a little bit, and he threw a lot of bad balls. Was very inaccurate, got really frazzled under pressure, per se, which I mean, that's most quarterbacks in the NFL when you pressure them. So that's going to be the main thing. Like it's going to be very interesting to see like the difference between what last week was with what the Colts did with Tua, because played a lot of drop eight, played a lot of coverages, very similar, um, to try to take away Tua's first read, and to make him stay in the pocket and make those mistakes. And that's kind of what they did. Bo Nix is almost kind of the opposite, like to an extent, is like he wants to beat you from outside of the pocket. Like he doesn't want to stand there and be under pressure and make those reads and make those throws. So I do think you see a little bit less like dropping guys into coverage, all that kind of stuff. I think you're going to see more blitzing this week. I think they're going to have to get after Bo Nix. I think they're going to have to try to minimize the loss of Latu because like not one single player really can like take that spot. So you're going to see like a lot more rotation. Maybe guys like Ebukam, Tyquan Lewis. Maybe you see JTT, who was inactive last week. Maybe you see him active. Maybe they try to just throw waves at him. And that's going to come from the DBs, obviously, as well. So, yeah, I think you have to get after Bo Nix in this game. You have to make him uncomfortable. You have to take away those quick, those quick reads, those slants, that Sean Payton style of offense that they like to run with those very quick reads and very quick throws. I think, like I said, you do that excuse me, multiple ways. Like you do that with pressure and you do that with playing press man coverage. You get up and you kind of take away those easy completions. And like you really try to like stick it with guys. So I think there's going to be a lot of man in this game. I think there's going to be a lot of blitzing and rotational defensive, players. I think you're going to have to stay really, really disciplined in their rush lanes. Like you can't over pursue a guy like Bo Nix because that really does play into what he wants to do as far as escaping the pocket and making those throws on the run. And he can really beat you on the ground game too, like with his legs, even if he doesn't throw. So you really want to try to play a lot more contain, force that pressure up the middle, and basically take away those easy, quick completions. And I think Tennessee did a pretty good job at that. And sorry, eventually we're gonna have a show where like I don't cough and I'm not sick. So it's coming, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. The main thing really, and like I've seen like the graphs going around about like the Colts like poor running game and stuff like that. I think a lot of that was honestly like the product of playing the type of game plan that they played with Tua. Like they were very much content on letting HN run the football because at basically at the end of the third drive, you're already up 17-0. You know they're going to have to throw the ball. You're dropping more guys back in, pass coverage. You're not really worried about running the ball whenever you're down 3 scores. The Broncos, on the other hand, like that is kind of where they found a little bit of success, especially in the fourth quarter, was running the football against Tennessee. And I think that's going to be more of a game plan, moving forward, especially if Bo Nix continues to play the way he has as a passer. I think you're going to see guys like RJ Harvey, who had a pretty good week last week, get involved. Obviously, J.K. Dobbins is there. Their offensive line is one of the best in football. It's a fantastic offensive line. So, I think their main goal is going to be, time control, run the football, kind of minimize Bo Nix having to stand in the pocket and make plays and basically play catch up. If they get down big, like that's really where you want this team is you want them playing catch up from behind because they're going to have to throw the ball and Bo Nix is going to force a lot of things and he's going to give you gifts. And we saw last week, the Colts really took advantage of those gifts. So if they can get like a very similar style of game plan as far as like getting out to a big lead on offense and forcing them to abandon the run game and making Bo Nix throw the football, I think it's a positive way to go about this.
Yeah, I agree absolutely too. I was thinking of before it started that the Broncos just due to Bo Nix last week. I'm pretty sure they're going to try to balance it out a little bit more this week with the run game and the throw game, just so he will be more comfortable going into this type of matchup because it's going to be interesting. I think Harvey can have himself a big game too. So it's going to be interesting. He averaged 11 yards per carry last week,
He was
especially
very
Bo
good.
Nix too. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, and especially with Bo Nix, he can get out there too. So you got to watch him as well. So it's going to be
I think the
extra.
thing though that like what's different with this team is like I know Cortland Sutton is like a really good receiver, but he's very different from guys like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and like those type of guys. Like Denver doesn't have, excuse the pun, the horses in that wide receiver room, um, the same way that Miami does. So like you're a little bit less scared of their weapons, but where you are scared of them is how great their offensive line is, how they can line up in the trenches and really dominate you. And they really try to focus, like I said, on running the football in that quick game with Bo Nix. Like, there's not going to be a team like Bo Nix. Whenever he gets uncomfortable, he tries to test things downfield a lot. He doesn't just kind of take what's there and take what's easy. He's trying to like almost put like will them back into the game. But when he does play like that, he does tend to make a lot of mistakes. So like I think which you could really say this every week, but like tackling is going to be such a premium in this game. Like whether it be in the run game or on these like quick, easy completions, like I said, staying disciplined in your pursuit, staying disciplined in your, your gap scheme and your rush lanes. They're going to throw a lot of screens at you. And that's a place where this defense in the past, especially with Gus Bradley and Matt Eberflus, like screens have killed them. So it'll be really curious to see how they kind of operate through those areas with, you know, uh, Lou Anarumo. And really what the difference is the cool thing about Lou is that it's really hard to get I guess, dial in on what their game plan is because it morphs, right? Like each game plan will be very specific to that opponent. Whereas like Colts fans and like myself and all of us, like we're very used to sitting back and like you're doing the same thing every week. Like you know what the Colts are doing, you know what they're going to run on defense. They're not going to change it up. Um, they just are who they are. Where this is very different. So like going into week 2, it's going to be very game plan specific on what Denver does. And so like you might see some of the very similar things that like the Titans did last week, come up against them this week. And I'm sure they'll possibly game plan for that and learn for that as well. So it goes both ways. It's just a very big chess match. But I'm really excited to see like how different things look with Lou this week compared to last week because it is a very different type of team than Miami is. And so you almost kind of morph to that and really how they overcome such a great offensive line and seeing if they can get pressure because that's why I said, like, I think there's going to be more blitzing this week. Just from the simple fact of Denver's offensive line is really strong. It's going to be really hard to get pressure, especially if Latu is on a pitch count, just rushing 4. So I think you'll see more pressure, and really trying to contain Bo Nix in the pocket and make him force those throws deep, into coverage. And yeah, that's just kind of my opinion on what they'll do. But like I said, it's week 1. You only have 1 week of film, so like you don't really know what tendencies either team has at this point in the season.
Well, the one tendency of a person we do know is one of our favorite players we always match up against. Evan Ingram is one of the guys we see more than enough. He will be active this week. Does he worry you going into this matchup?
Um, I don't know, like necessarily like worry me. Like Evan Ingram, like he's a good player, but he's like not a guy that like I'm really like game planning a schemer. Like I'm like if you want to let Evan Ingram beat us all day and I take away RJ Harvey and Cortland Sutton, I will live with that. 1,000% I will live with that. What I don't want is like Evan Ingram to be going and then the run game be going and then Cortland Sutton gets going. Like you don't want
And then
that.
Troy
So like, yeah,
Franklin.
like if Evan Ingram, if he wants to be the guy, like if you want to give Evan Ingram 10 catches for 80 yards but you lock everybody else up, sure. Like go right ahead. He's not a guy that's going to keep me awake at night. So yeah, my main focus in this game is number 1, the run game. Like that is my single main focus is taking away Denver's running game, attacking their offensive line, and making Bo Nix stay in the pocket and play quarterback. Don't let him play backyard football. Make him play quarterback.
I agree. I agree 100%. Definitely the run game will be. And if you guys don't know Landon by now, he does preach more than enough. You guys don't hear him, but he be speaking facts. So this is why I ask him a lot of questions because I need to know as well the inside. We're going to transition over to the offensive side for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the Colts looked really good last week, but this week it's only going to get the roller coaster is only going to get higher as we get towards the middle of the season. And the Denver Broncos is a little bit better than Miami defense. I would say a lot better with the pressure they can bring and their secondary. This is going to be an ultimate test for Daniel Jones to see where he's at mentally and physically going up against a superior matchup on the defensive side. So Daniel Jones looks like he's going to try to have another good week. We got Jonathan Taylor, look like he's going to try to explode this week. What's your thoughts on the Colts offense going up against an even better defense in Denver Broncos?
Yeah, this to me, like this is where the game will be decided is in this area. It's going to be Denver's defense versus the Colts offense. Whichever one of those comes out on top, that's who will win this football game. It it is a tough task. I will say, like watching the Tennessee film, like Brian Callahan, like, oh man, I don't even know where to really start. Like Cam Ward did not have any easy throws in that game. And like it was to me, like Denver's defense is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but it was much more of a product of the play calling and the offense as opposed to like Denver just absolutely dominating them. They did get a lot of pressure on him, which they will because they're incredible. But there were a lot of plays where I'm looking through there and I'm looking at what they're running and it's all deep. Like it's like how Colts fans complained about the way like the offense was called for Anthony Richardson last year, where it was just mostly deep shots and there was no easy completions or anything like that, which that was for a completely different reason than what this was for. Um, it was very similar. Like there just wasn't very many easy completions for Cam Ward to get in a rhythm. Like everything, not everything, but most of the stuff they ran was deep, and it's hard to play quarterback in that world. Like it just is. So this will be a big test for Denver's defense as well because Shane Steichen, like you won't have to worry about that with the Colts because like there will be answers baked in to every play. Like, and last week we saw Daniel Jones consistently pre-snap find those answers. He knew what Miami was doing, knew what they were running. It's a product of playing a lot of football, and he made them pay. So it's going to be very interesting to see two things in this. One, Patrick Surtain, wherever that guy's lined up, and he is one of those guys that like he follows guys. So like I expect him on Michael Pittman Jr. all day. Wherever Patrick Surtain is, you have to be aware of that. And maybe they use more motion with Pittman this week. Maybe they get him in the slot a little bit and try to free up those outside things. So I think this could be a very big week as far as, Dre Greenlaw is out as well, again, for Denver's defense. So I'm very curious to see, like, will this be another, and I think it will be another big Tyler Warren week in the middle of the field. Because I think that's a guy they're going to game plan for. They're going to put Surtain on Pittman, and Surtain is, to me, the best defensive back in football. Former defensive player of the year. He's an eraser. He's a guy you put on a wide receiver and he erases that guy, and that frees the rest of their defense in to focus on another player. That player to me is going to be Tyler Warren. They're going to focus on Tyler Warren. They're going to stick Surtain on Pittman, and those are the two guys that absolutely killed Miami last week. So very similar to like what I was saying about the Colts defense. Like they're going to say like, hey, beat us. Somebody else is going to have to beat us because Michael Pittman's not going to beat us. Tyler Warren's not going to beat us. Who else can step up? Is that Josh Downs? To me, the key to this is Adonai Mitchell, because you're going to see, in my opinion, a lot of isolation on AD Mitchell, um, and getting him in one-on-one matchups. If there's one thing AD Mitchell can do at just an unbelievably high level, it's separate one-on-one. Um, this is, in my opinion, this shapes up to be a huge AD Mitchell game, and um, if he can come down with 5 or 6 catches and really make some plays after the catch, I think it's going to be a good week. Another area where I thought Tennessee did a really good job, and that I kind of thought they abandoned a little too early, was the run game. I thought Tennessee attacked the middle of Denver's defensive line at a very good level. I think the Colts will be a much bigger test than what Tennessee was. So I think Jonathan Taylor and this offensive line running the football on the interior side, the A gap, the B gap run game, I think they can have some success there. I think this is going to be one of those games, and it does kind of hate me to say this, but like this is going to be one of those games where like you almost need to minimize Daniel Jones. Um, Now maybe he proves me wrong and he comes out and just shreds them, but like I am definitely scared of the safety play, and I'm definitely scared of Patrick Surtain. So the less that he has to test those guys and possibly turn the ball over, I think the better for the Colts. I think getting the ball out quick, kind of neutralizing that pass rush, because they played a lot of bear fronts in Tennessee, and if you don't know what that is, like they blitzed, they rushed 6, they got after Cam Ward a lot. And on the plays that even they didn't do that, where they could just rush 4, Nick Bonito is, to me, one of the best pass rushers in football, and he just got paid for it. And week 1, it showed why. That's another guy, like that's a guy that keeps me up at night. Denver's offense might not have those type of guys that keep me awake at night. Denver's defense does. Like I need to know where Bonito is on every play. I need to know where Surtain is on every play. And I need to know where the safety Hafanga, I think is how you pronounce his name.
Yeah.
I need to know where he's at on every play. Those 3 guys at any moment in time can absolutely demolish a offensive game plan. So you need to know where those guys are. The offensive line is going to have their hands full. There's a lot. I mean, this is a very talented defense, but it's not a defense that isn't invulnerable. We saw last year when the Colts played them. They had them on the ropes. Like the game's right there for the taking. Obviously, momentum switched with the JT thing and all that. So they had them on the rope. And where they absolutely killed the Colts defensively, I think they put up 31 points, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to go look at that game again. But where they killed the Colts was the Colts played that off zone coverage. And, like I said, Bo Nix loves to get the ball out quick. Sean Payton designs his offense around quick and easy completions. And as we know with Gus Bradley's defense, quick and easy completions were there on every single play. And that is where Denver's defense absolutely annihilated them, or Denver's offense annihilated them. So I think this needs to be a game plan of ball control, of running the football and featuring Jonathan Taylor. And you're going to have those one-on-one matchups outside with Alec Pierce and Adonai Mitchell. Can they take advantage of those shots? If they can, if Daniel Jones can take advantage of it and the offensive line can hold up and give him time to take advantage of it, I think there's a good chance the Colts can win this football game. I really do. If the offensive line doesn't hold up and Daniel Jones is under pressure all day and they can't get the ground game going offensively, and you're looking for those easy completions with Pittman against, like you're having to target Pittman against Surtain, and you're having to attack, those safeties and stuff like that, it can be a long day at the office. It can be a long day. So the trenches are where this game will be decided, whether it's on the defensive side of the ball, whether it's on the offensive side of the ball. You're going to have to get pressure on Bo Nix, and make him throw the football. And on the flip side, you're going to have to run the football at a high level, and you're going to have to take advantage of this play action that they ran last week and really target those one-on-one matchups, whether it be Josh Downs, A.D. Mitchell, or Alec Pierce. One of those three guys is going to have to step up because they're going to do everything in their power to take away Michael Pittman and to take away Tyler Warren. Now, if there's one thing Shane Steichen does well, it is scheme guys open and get guys touches. So I'm not saying, if you got Michael Pittman going in fantasy, I'm not saying he's going to be held to 0 catches. Like there's going to be Shane Steichen's going to find a way to get those players involved because they're just really good football players. Like Tyler Warren is going to find ways to get touches, whether it's putting him in motion, whether it's lining up in the backfield, whether it's running wildcat, they're going to get Tyler Warren touches. But I think for the Colts to win this football game, one of those other three guys are going to have to step up and really try to take the offense to another level this week than what we saw last week. And maybe it's Daniel Jones. Like maybe he does use his legs this week a little bit more because he didn't really have to run a lot last week. Maybe they have more quarterback run. Maybe Jonathan Taylor just has a vintage JT game and is able just to completely take over this game. We don't know. That's the thing is like, you only have 1 week of film. So you don't really know, what they are. And Steichen is just a master at, getting advantageous matchups for things. And especially if Daniel Jones is seeing things the way he saw them last week, that like he will have the answers to the test. Whether he is able to utilize those answers, that's going to be key.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You mentioned the last matchup. It was 13-31. The Colts started off on fire in the first half and then just collapsed in the second half into the fourth quarter. Bo Nix had 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 130. He had 8 carries, led them in rushing 2. Jonathan Taylor had a good game, but it didn't pan out like we wanted because of those fumbles and interceptions for Richardson. So, yeah. Mike's muted. Your mic.
Yeah, no, I was saying like the quarterback turning the ball over way too many times. Jonathan Taylor with that crucial fumble going into the end zone.
Nobody can catch.
I think A.D. Mitchell threw an intercept or pick 6 that game. Whatever could go wrong, like after that fumble to go into the end zone, whatever could go wrong went wrong. It just zapped momentum completely. But they had them on the ropes. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. And like Tennessee, like they did some things very well against Denver's defense. Like it was vulnerable. It wasn't like one of these things where like you're going into this game and you're looking at Denver's defensive performance last week and you're just like, oh man, like there's no hope. This is why we watch film, because there was a lot of things that I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, like the Colts could really take it. Like if Denver shows them this look defensively, the Colts really have the pieces to take advantage of this. It's just really going to be dependent, like I said, on the trenches to me. Like, can the offensive line hold up to allow Daniel Jones to take advantage of it? Can he keep them on schedule? Can he keep them out of 3rd and longs, letting that pass rush, tee off and, that blitz to tee off with Vance Joseph and what they do there? It's going to be crucial. It's, to me, like this is going to be one of the most fun matchups because I think the coaching, of Vance Joseph versus Shane Steichen. It's going to be such an incredible chess piece to watch. And then on the flip side, you got Sean Payton, who's a Hall of Fame coach, going up against Lou Anarumo, who is just, as we saw last week, like he's just such a multiple cut. Like you don't know what the Colts are going to do this week because each game plan is going to be so specific to the opponent they're playing. And that is such a refreshment. So like the coaching battle in this game might be the best coaching battle of any game this week. Like you're getting 2 guys against, two guys who are just incredible at what they do going up against two guys who are incredible at what they do. Um, it's and at that point, like I said, it's just going to be this game will be decided. I can't say this enough. This game will be decided in the trenches.
Yeah, I agree. So we got trenches for Landon, and for me, I'm going to see whichever team limits turnovers. Whoever throws the less turnovers will win this game. So it's got to be a lot of clean football, but it's going to be messy. I'm hoping we get a Cam Bynum interception this week. See some dance moves. That'll be interesting. So it's going to be a fun matchup. This is one of the most fun matchups so far.
It'll be interesting to me, like the narrative shift. Like I'm so curious, like the narratives that have come out from week one, which is always one of the most funny things to me. Like, and whether it's good or bad, like because here's the thing too. Like we have to remember, like no quarterback plays good every single week. Like it doesn't matter if you're Tom Brady, it doesn't matter if you're Peyton Manning. Like eventually you will have a bad game. And so like I'm very curious to see like if Daniel Jones has a bad game, like that narrative, like, oh my gosh, it's going to be the complete 180 of what last week
I'm
was.
going to say destroy the statue.
Like it's going to be just such a disaster. And then like on the flip side as well, like we saw the narrative of like the Colts just completely from start to finish just thoroughly dominated Miami. And the narrative has been like, well, we knew Miami was going to be a terrible team coming in. Well, no, you didn't, because the majority of people picked Miami in the media to win that game. So we've seen the praise for Denver all offseason. Like there's that excuse won't be there. Like if the Colts come out and they beat this Denver football team, and especially if they dominate them, which I don't think they will, but like I think this is going to be a really close game. But like on the off chance that they come out and Daniel Jones and Lou Anarumo and Shane Steichen and Jonathan Taylor and these guys just ball out and they completely dominate Denver, I'm so curious what the narrative is. Because you won't be able to use that same excuse that was used in Miami where it was all like, well, like Denver, like they're not really good. They're not there yet. Like, no, we heard the noise. Like there was a incredible amount of hype on this Broncos team coming into this season, and especially after week one. Them getting a W. Like if the Colts come out and win this football game, the narrative of like, well, it wasn't the Colts, it was the other team, like that's gone. So this to me, like people put so much stock in that. And that's why I think it's hilarious to watch the narratives shift because it's only week two. Like the Colts can come out and have a complete stinker of a game and Daniel Jones can play awful and all that. And it almost has no bearing on what you're going to see the rest of the season. Like there's still 15 games to go. Like if he has one bad game, like he might play great the other 15 games. And like same thing, like if Denver comes out and Denver loses and like and all that, like there's 15 more games. Like that's what's so funny about the Miami thing too. Like if Miami comes out the next 16 games and plays great football and ends up, 9-10 wins, 11 wins, like week one doesn't matter. Like, and that's the same thing. So like, I'm curious to watch like the narrative on social media, regardless of which way this game goes. And I think it's really is a coin flip. It's going to be hilarious to watch because people just lose their minds over the first like 2 or 3 weeks of the year. Like, I don't know what this team is until like we're at least going into like week 6, 7, 8. That's when I'll sit down and be like, okay, this is who the Colts are. This is what they're about. Each week is a new opportunity to build off of the previous week. But like, I'm not going to sit here and the Colts come out and lose this football game and be like, oh, season's over. Daniel Jones thinks Shane Steichen needs to be fired. And it's like on the flip side with Denver. Like if Denver loses this game, I'm not going to just overreact and be like, oh, like, well, Denver's not who we thought they were. Denver's not a good team. Like, oh, it's so early. Like it's just enjoy the game. Hopefully, it's a good game for the Colts and they can pull out this victory. And I think there's a good chance they can. I really do. This is a coin flip to me. So yeah, I'm curious to see how this plays out. And especially if the Colts win this game. I'm so like it. If the Colts win this game and Daniel Jones performs well again, like he did last week, like I am so curious how the national media and the fans and all that stuff really like latch onto this.
It'll be fun for me because it's nothing but entertainment, and I love when Colts win games because it just brings so much peace within the fan base.
Yeah, they haven't started 2-0 since 2009.
That's
2009. I
that'd be
was
crazy.
I was in college. Like,
I was just going into high school.
sheesh.
Yeah.
No, I was in college in 2009. So, it'll be it'll be very curious. Um like I said, the narratives, regardless of which way this game goes, the all things get spun around. Um yeah, that's
Said as Chris said, they don't complain when you're winning.
oh no, they do.
Oh yeah,
They do.
absolutely. Especially
Yeah.
in Indianapolis.
I've seen all kinds of complaints this week. Yeah, there's been all kinds of complaining, man. Like, I don't think I don't think I've had a single moment in the last. Really, I'm trying to think. Even with Peyton Manning, I remember people complaining.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like I don't think there's
Too
been a
many
single moment
interceptions.
where like Colts fans haven't complained. Um, yeah, there's always going to be complaining. So yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what
Question
it.
before we get out of here came in from Cole. He said, "Will this be a good Josh Downs week?"
I think it definitely has the potential to be for sure. It'll be curious to see the usage of Josh Downs because last week it was a little bit different. Obviously, they got out to that huge lead. So, like, you don't really need to throw the ball a lot. So, you saw a lot more like 12 and 13 personnel with, two or three tight ends where Josh Downs isn't on the field in those, situations because you don't need a guy lined up in the slot whenever you're running two or three tight ends and you're running the football. So, um, it'll be curious. Like, if they get down early and they're having to run more 11 personnel, then yeah, like it'll be a good Josh Downs week. I think they're going to try to find completions, and Daniel Jones is really good at finding completions. If the Colts get up, they do a little bit more 12 personnel. They do a little bit more 13 personnel. Josh Downs just probably, unfortunately, won't have that opportunity. Um, I I think, in my opinion, and this is really going out on a limb here, I would start Adonai Mitchell this week. I think this will be a good AD Mitchell week.
I like that. Plus, with a guy like Daniel Jones who's actually hitting his receivers,
Yeah,
it could be a
dude.
good week for
I
anybody.
mean, like that's what somebody is like. Oh, the deep ball's gonna disappear. We're not gonna have like the
He
deep
was hitting
ball's
everybody
gone.
last
Like,
week.
all that dude, he was 4 of 4 last week. Like, I mean, it was there.
Yeah, it
It
was a
was
good
there.
game,
That ball to Pierce was incredible.
man.
Like the feather touch to Pittman. Like, yeah, he was like 100% completion percentage and a touchdown, no turnovers, on balls that were thrown further than 20 yards down the field.
Looking like prime Brock Purdy.
Yeah. And so like, and that's what I'm saying. And that's kind of what I was preaching coming into the season is like,
Mhm.
you can't build an entire offense around that. Like, you're going to have a handful of those shots every game. Like, whether it's 4, whether it's 2, whether it's 3, like, but you can't go out there and have a game plan where you're throwing those passes 10 times a game, 11 times a game. Like, it's not sustainable. You can't build an offense around the quarterback running and the quarterback throwing 20-yard bombs, 40-yard bombs, 50-yard passes. You just can't do it. And I think week 1 was the perfect example of where you want to live in offensively. You want to live in that, 3rd and 3, getting those easy completions on first down, getting the ball in these guys' hands and allowing them to create after the catch. And then if you do that well enough, yeah, you're going to have 3 or 4 times a game where like you're going to be able to take those shots. And ultimately, if you hit those shots, you got a good chance to win the football game. But it just can't be your whole offense.
Yeah, I agree. Well, you guys let us know your thoughts in the comment section of who you got winning this game. If you're a Broncos fan, welcome aboard. Let us know your predictions as well in the comment section. I'm going to be interested to see what this game's going to look like. And plus, the post game reaction when we come back next week to talk about the game is going to be even better. Hopefully,
Oh
it's a good
gosh.
one.
Yeah.
So, we
Hopefully
will.
it's a good one because if the Colts lose this game and Daniel Jones looks terrible, oh man, like
I'm going to have a blast.
it's going to be week 2 and the pitchforks are going to be lined up on West 56. It's just going to be so hilarious to watch the overreactions.
Absolutely.
The
I'm
same
here
way it
for
was
it.
funny to watch the overreactions in week 1. Like, I mean,
Oh,
we're like,
man.
oh,
Everybody was dancing on TikTok, celebrating,
yeah, which is
having a
great.
blast.
I loved every second of it. But yeah, I hate the negative overreactions. It's just,
Yeah.
it's always like this. Is what I was talking to somebody, and so I was telling them with week 1, it's like it's never as good as it looked, and it's never as bad as it looked. Like the truth is always somewhere in the middle. Um, and to me, like that's going to be the case with this week too. Like if they lose a close game or if they get blown out and they don't win, like it doesn't mean they're a bad football team. It just means they had a bad week. And you have week 3 and week 4 and week 11 and week 16. Like you have all those weeks ahead of you. Um, to make up for a bad week.
Yeah.
Whereas like the same thing, like if they win, like they can win this game and like Colts are going to the Super Bowl, all that, and then they could come out and just lay an egg the rest of the year, and you just never know. It's so early on. Like I said, I'm not going to form too much of an opinion until we get at least into like the end of October, early November is like where I'm probably going to be like, okay, this is who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we're sitting there and we're winning a lot of football games and we're sitting there, it's like, okay, like this is real. This is who we are. The Colts are winners. The quarterback situation's figured out. The defense is flying around and balling. Like that's where I would love to be.
Yeah. Same here. Win the easy games and survive the test. So hopefully that's the motto going into this year. We will see, but we're going to get up out of here. We appreciate everyone for tuning in. The 300 that tuned in on the live stream, we appreciate each and every one of you. Everyone that's watching or listening to it post stream, appreciate you guys. You guys got to come through on the live stream and be more interactive as well. See your response. We'll comment to the questions that you post. Follow us on all platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple, you name it. We're everywhere located. This is Landon. This is Marcus. We'll see you guys next week after the game to talk about it, and then we'll preview it the next week's game later on in the week. But until next time, this is Marcus. That's Landon. You guys stay safe. Go Colts. And we will see you guys. Have a good weekend.